the benefits of having a relationship that works. It means that you're never alone. It means that you're not isolated. It means that the whole question of why you are here doesn't need to be answered by some philosophical guru who understands everything and knows how to get to the end of the road of that answer. Bullshit. The major thing that you need is to have this life. If the question that you have is, what is your purpose in life? It's to live. Because without life, that question means nothing. And if the point or the purpose of life is to live without relationships is going to be no life at all. But then why is there this need to reserve who you are in a relationship? So you get into a relationship with somebody else, and then you hold back some of who you are and you keep it private and you keep it secret. For what? So that other person can trip up on all the little shadowy places inside your room, inside the spaces that you are. You go through this world in a relationship with somebody else, and you've got all this hidden shit, all this dark, cloudy stuff, all the shadowy things that you hold back from the other person. Whether it's baggage, whether it's your own thoughts, whatever it is. And every time they go through their day and they trip up on that in your mind, they accidentally stumble on it, or they hit on it, or they say something that pricks that nerve, and you say nothing about it, you secretly create a new shadow holding that problem against them. The thing that they just did, you hold against them. They didn't even know that they were doing it wrong and haven't got a clue. And whose fault is it that you blame it on? Them. Why is it that you want to have a relationship? It's because you don't want to be lonely. But if you want to have a relationship to not be lonely, then why not share who you are? Because you're scared. Almost every degree in the world has got some kind of communication in it. So when people come out of a degree, or they come out of university, varsity, schooling, whatever it is, they think that because they've done some kind of communication, they know how to communicate. But then the question is, where's the evidence that people are so well groomed and educated? Because when it comes to relationships and businesses and careers, you find generally that the biggest problem that people have is that they can't communicate to each other. And this is such a principal problem in every single relationship. It's such a principal problem in every single business. Any type of relationship, any type of business, the cleanest path of communication creates the cleanest path of being able to understand what information needs to be transferred. In a relationship that you have a relationship with somebody, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is. Every single time you're communicating, you are not talking to the other person that's standing in front of you. That's not what's going on. Let me explain. You meet somebody for the first time. The very, very first time you meet somebody. You're going out on that date, you come home, and now you're thinking about that person. That person's face is inside your mind. You build up an avatar of who that person is inside your mind, and you talk to that person. You dream with that person. You think with that person. You feel with that person who they are to you represented in your head. Then when you see that other person again, all that conversation and all those thoughts and feelings and all those pictures that you've been creating inside your mind with that person, you now start communicating it with the person that's on the outside of you. And now, and that communication sometimes can be complicated because you are 20 conversations ahead of with them in your mind than you are with the person in real life. And guess what? They're doing exactly the same thing. If you are having a relationship with another human being in your head and not with them there's going to be a couple of communication issues. And that happens everywhere. It happens with your work as well. So you go to work and you have this whole mindset of work is for salary, work is for security, work is for significance, work is for whatever it is, work is for those things. And so you produce an avatar, or you create a mindset of who that person or what that job is or who your boss is, and you shout at them or you smile at them or you wanna make love to them. Whatever it is that you want to do, you do it in your head. And then when you see them in real life outside of your head, how do you treat them then? Completely differently. So there's two different types of conversations going on, two sets of communications going on. It's a massive problem. It's a massive problem for the whole human race. I can just imagine how they freaking did this in the Neanderthal days. Exactly the same thing. They want to beat something up, but then as they get there, they're like, it's really, really stupid how humans communicate. And unless there is an ability to recognize that, I'll give you an example. So I'm married and I have a wife, and I every single day create pictures in my mind of who she is, what she is, and I'm talking to her throughout the whole day. Then when I get home at the end of the day, I've had a whole bunch of conversations that she has not been privy to, but I've been sharing thoughts with her. I've been thinking, I've been talking, I've been having all these ideas. The best thing that I can do at that moment is to share those thoughts with her there and then at that moment, and download and upgrade who she is, and then get that feedback from a real person, the feedback from her that now comes back and answers all those questions and the communication that I've been having during the course of the day. But no, why the fuck do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? Because you're too smart, you see? You don't want to do that. You think that you're so smart that what you see and what you hear and what you say is the way reality is. I'm afraid it's not how it is. Because the other person's also doing that. So you've got these two people that have created an idea of what the other person says, what the other person thinks, and what they're doing, and vice versa. And now you've got these two people that live together but share no life, because they're living with the avatar of their spouse inside their head. And when the moment that the person on the outside says something that they don't like, which doesn't agree with who they are on the inside, you know what happens? They start fighting with the avatar in their head. The moment that they start fighting with the spouse or the avatar, the friend, whatever it is inside their head, they start creating this animosity. They start creating a little black book of shit that they've done. And you know what happens? The person in the real world has not done that. But that was only actually created in your head. The person that's in your head hasn't been cleaned out, hasn't been sorted. Why? Because you're communicating to the two people differently. In your head, you're going to shout at that person, I can't believe that he would say that thing. I can't believe that she would do that kind of thing. And then when you're in front of the real person, what do you do? Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Nice. You see that stuff? That's the stuff that's going to make you lonely. That's the stuff that's going to make you never be able to have a real relationship. That's the kind of stuff that when you die one day, you're not going to have achieved anything. You're not going to have grown. You're not going to have developed. Because the reason for life is to live. And if there's any type of living that's going to go on, it's going to be in a relationship. And if you're not having a relationship with somebody that you can be vulnerable with, that you can understand, and that you can see, and that you can continuously update this avatar of who they are in your head, I'm afraid there's going to be a problem. Let me explain how this works in another way. There's a husband and a wife, whatever. Two people in a relationship and they're having arguments. Every single time that they have this argument, one of them pulls in a little bit. The other one doesn't care. They're 100% happy to have a relationship where they know that they're going to get over it, and a fight doesn't change the dynamics of who they are or the space that they're going to live in. But the other person quietly resents, and builds up this huge warehouse of shadows, shadowy things, horrible little thoughts, horrible little things, and all of them are attached to the avatar. And the moment that somebody says the name of the avatar or the real person comes in front of them, what happens? All those shadows come up and start talking and telling you exactly how you don't treat me like this, speak to me like this, you make me feel like this. I'm sorry, it's not that other person's fault. You need to clean out what's inside your warehouse. You need to clean out the shit that's inside where you are thinking. You have to be responsible with your share in the relationship. If you're not going to be responsible for your share in the relationship, obviously you're going to fall out of love. Obviously you're going to just be in a lustful relationship. Obviously you're only going to be in the relationship for what you can take. But is that who you are? Is that the sum total of everything that you are? Is just somebody who wants to take something from another human life? Is that the reason that you're here to be in existence, to have that type of life? And the other thing is that you've got this picture of who this person is in your mind, and other people have got a picture of who that person is their mind, and nobody ever talks about the real person, only from the avatar that they have in their mind of that person. How are you ever going to communicate true feelings from one person to another, true thoughts, build up somebody from a mental image that isn't upgraded in a relationship continuously all the time? How are you going to manage to endure through life and learn to expand beyond this need to date and to have a relationship and to feel safe and secure with somebody that's going to love you? You need to go beyond that. You need to be able to have a relationship with somebody where the two of you are together, traveling in the same direction at the same time for the same purpose, and not have to worry about the security and the significance of that space. Rather be putting your energies out into what you can achieve together, what you can explore together. And it's exactly the same with a business. The moment that you give who you are to a business and stop trying to take, and the business starts doing the same thing, your vulnerabilities are no longer vulnerable. And who you are and the ability for your humanity to come out in that space and to be innovative, productive, to be powerful is now possible. And how to find engagement, and how to find the first gear into being able to move forward becomes a reality. The biggest problem that people have in relationships is that they don't communicate. There's so many different types of relationship, but they all carry very, very similar principles. And these principles, these very specific things are you giving of yourself to the other person, or are you taking from the other person? Because if you are giving to the other person, that means that you're investing who you are into the future of yourself in somebody else. But if you are not investing into somebody else, that means that your investment, what you're giving over, is zero. You are taking away from somebody else. When you're taking from somebody else, all that you do is eat it, consume it, and then shit it out. That's all that happens. You don't give anything back. Relationships require, for them to work, they require people to be connected and to be communicating effectively for the purpose of what? The relationship.